Joyce, the sage of Sunnyside, now 80 years wise and as beautiful as ever. Glad to have you, dear. Go ahead.
Thank you. You know, I'm angered by the verdict of this little punk, Chad Holley. I wish that he had gotten the 4 years that was suggested, because I am so tired of people in my community coddling these criminals. He is a little thug, and this says he's getting a second chance. He got a second chance before, and what did he do? End up back in someone's house stealing that stuff. And we have got to stop it. I have said this for years. Our communities are being destroyed because of punks like this. And then this dressed up thug, Cornell, he's always up supporting these thugs. He do more support for the thugs than he do for honest people in our community. And you know, everybody seems like they are afraid to speak out against this whole foolishness of Cornell X. What I hear is a black lady that is not afraid to say, you are nothing but a little dressed up punk yourself. And a lot of these young blacks, you got them angry at police because of the junk that you are spouting out here in the community. And you see, what I try to tell the young blacks, you're not going to get off like Cornell X, because that time when he didn't stop for the police, he got no bill. But I tell young blacks, if you do it, your butt going to jail. And we've got to stop it. And I am so tired of us taking up for these punks. And people, you know, I do ministry in my community. There are senior citizens in my community today, Michael, that are afraid to walk out in their yard to pick up that newspaper. And it's because of punks like Chad Holley that this Cornell X is out here supporting. I mean, he's glad that he got the 6 months in. I wish he had gotten 4 years in jail.
Joyce, let me ask you something.
Yes.
You live in Sunnyside.
Yes.
Which, for people who don't know, is a predominantly, if not almost exclusively black neighborhood. It's not a higher-end neighborhood, but the homes were all built, I don't know, probably 50s and 60s, would you say?
Yes, 60. Mine is 61 years old.
Okay.
Yes.
So 61 years old, so yes. 50s. All right, late 40s and 50s. They're modest homes, but they're not they're not low-end homes. They were production homes when they were built. And that neighborhood, which at one point was predominantly Jewish, as you probably know, that neighborhood has been a hotbed of crime.
Yes.
If Chad Holley lived 2 doors over from you, okay, let's speak hypothetically. If he lived 2 doors over from you and you were to suggest, hey, that teenage boy that's not going to school during the day, I think he may be breaking into homes, because often these punks will break into homes in their own neighborhood, what would be the reaction?
It's the same as, you don't have to ask. It would be the same thing that they're saying all the time. That some white person has told me to say this, you know. And this has been going on for years. And I have watched, when I moved here 41 years ago, this was a nice neighborhood.
Where did you move from, Joyce?
Out off Gessner. It's called the Riceville community. It's off Gessner and Belford. But it was a nice community. It wasn't all this thuggery, walking the streets day in and day out. We didn't see that. But this is what is happening now. But if you try to say anything, you're the bad person, and the criminal is the good person. And that's where we are. And another
How do you think this happened, Joyce? How did this sea change occur? Because it was not always this way.
That's what I say. I teach this all the time. And I said, don't you want let's walk back in time and see how we lived. And what happened? What happened? Nobody wants to, address it because it's always it's because of slavery. It's because of the somebody else. No one takes responsibility for their own actions, and that's how I grew up, taking responsibility for my own actions. But another thing I want before I have to get off, this boy is a father today. Some stupid girl was stupid enough to lay down and have a baby for this man. Who do you think is going to take care of this baby? It's not going to be Chad Holley. I guarantee you she's in the WIC line. She's housing, and that's not our background. Our background is personal responsibility, hard work, and that's what I say. I talk this during Black History. 'Cause, I'm not into Black history, but I talk this. What happened to this rich culture that we knew? We don't. Things are much better today than it was for me when I was growing up. I had my first time, Quanell, to walk in someone's house to steal that stuff, and this child had it much better at 7. Things were more open for him at 16 years old than it was for me at 16. So are you telling me that I had more sense than this child? Does that make sense to me, Michael?
Well, but you were not born with this sense, Joyce, and that's the difference. You were not born into this world with the common sense you have today. Much of it was experienced, but somebody, some mother, some father, some grandmother, some grandfather, some teacher, some pastor, some uncle, some sibling, they taught you right from wrong. They swatted your little booty.
Sure did.
They sat you down. They explained things to you. They answered questions. They steered you back on the course. And that's what. Look, I don't think children are born into this world today any dumber than we were. Mm-hmm. They just don't have anyone to teach them right from wrong when they make mistakes.
Because you have somebody like Quanell to go out, and it's not only Quanell. I'm just picking on Quanell, but it's not only him. It's our community. It's even preached from the pulpit, taken up for these thugs that's walking around, breaking in homes, and especially not breaking anyone's home. But what do you think the old senior citizens out there? What do you think senior citizens have to give for you? My God, they work their fingers to the bone to make it better for you. And then you have the audacity to watch them leave home and you go into their homes and steal that little stuff. And then you put them at a disadvantage because now they got to do more security measures and all this stuff.
Well, and I've seen case after case where they'll steal from their own the very grandmother that raised them.
They sure will, to go out and get some drugs. Get a job. Do something. This is our culture. This is our thing. Get a job. Nobody owe you anything. Well, see, I taught my children, and like I was taught, nobody owe you anything because you're black. We need to get out of that because you are teaching the young men, oh, well, you can't demand anything from me because I'm crippled, because I'm black.
That's terrible. Joyce, thank you for your call, dear. As always, the sage of Sunnyside, Joyce, 80 years young and as beautiful as ever. You should have seen her in that hat on her birthday on March 24th at the House of Blues. Looking good. Everybody in that place had to have a picture with Miss Joyce. More Michael Berry Show coming up.